What's up, everybody? Today we're going to look at a chord chart, and I'm going to teach you 4 notes in this song. That's all this song is 4 notes. And so first, before I show you the chord chart and try to decipher all that, I'm going to show you the notes. So the first note that you're going to play is on the A string. It's a 3rd fret. That's the note of C. Helps to have volume. So the note of C. The next note is going to be the note G, and you're going to find that on the 3rd fret of the E string. The 3rd note of this sequence, we're going to go back to the A string, and we're going to go up to the 5th fret. So right here. Now, if you're looking at the side of your neck, there's a good chance you have a dot right here. And so you have a dot on the 3rd fret, the 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret, and you have double dots at 12th. So we're going to be at the 5th fret on the A string, that's D, and then we're going to go up to the 7th fret, and that's E, still on the A string. So you're going to go C for 4 counts, G for 4 counts, D for 4 counts, and E, okay? So I want you to get that under your fingers, practice that. As a bass player who is on a worship team, a lot of times the worship leader will give us the music on a piece of paper, or if you have a tablet of some kind, they may email it to you. But a lot of times you'll have the lyrics, and then you'll have notes above the lyrics. And sometimes it's kind of hard to make sense of that unless you're listening to the song or you know the song. And I want you to just see that. I want you to look at it. And so this is what a lot of times when you're on a worship team, you will have in front of you. Now, there's variations of this. It may be handwritten. It may be adjusted in a way for the situation that you're playing. But for the most part, this is what your general chord sheet will look like. And so I want you to find something like this. Find a song. Find a YouTube video to play along with. That's how I practice sometimes. If I don't know the song, I'll find the chord chart for it, and I will find a YouTube video and I'll just play. Now, the trick is, if you're going to do that, make sure it's in the correct key that you're learning in, because a lot of times other churches, they will play in different keys, and that may mess you up. And so, for instance, I'm teaching you this song. It's actually in the key of G. That's the 2nd note in the progression, though. The recording of it is actually in the key of E. So I'm going to have the background music track that I just played in a link below. I want you to take the 4 notes that we've been talking about, C, G, D, and E, and I want you to practice listening to that. I want you to practice playing with it. I want you to practice whole notes. I want you to practice half notes. So that would essentially be landing on the kick. So you're playing on the 1 and the 3. Now, the tempo of this song, as it was recorded, is just a little faster than the tempo that you're practicing at. And so this is pretty close. I want you to practice what's called playing with space. And so not everything has to be super fast like this. You can just let it ring. When you're practicing, if you find a video of Waymaker, I want you to listen to the drummer. The drummer is pushing and pulling, not the tempo, but the energy. And so as the drummer plays with more energy, it's given this push. And so a lot of times bass players will actually start matching the energy of the drummer. So listen to that. Practice listening to that. It's going to be really good. Listen to the way the drummer is using the kick. Okay, so real quick, I want to talk about why worship music is a great place for beginning bass players. Now, for the most part, the bass player is really supporting the chords, so hitting those root notes. So last week, we talked about the root note. So the chords in the song, when the guitar player is playing, the piano player, they're going to be looking at a lot more things involved. And I was teaching y'all last week about just the root note. So this is the root note of this chord. So this is your C. This is your G. And then whenever you look at the paperwork, it goes to a D sus. And that note right there is what changes it whenever you look at that on the screen. And then this is your E minor. And so this is what the guitar player, the piano player are going to be playing while you simply hold down the root note. And so worship, basic worship for a bass player is just holding down the root note. And it's really supporting the chord progression of the song and locking in with the kick drum with the drummer. Now, when I use the word worship, I'm talking about the more popular style coming out of your Bethel, your Hillsong, and then basically it's just simplified for the average church. Now, I just want to put a caveat in here. While I'm talking about this style and these opportunities to play, I would love for you to walk into a church, get involved, and learn how to play bass on a worship team. There's something I need to tell you first before you make that choice to do that. If you walk into a Christian church, more than likely, they want to make sure you're on the same page. You believe what they believe. So if you believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, then more than likely they'll be like, okay, come on, let's see what we can do here. Now, that's my beliefs. I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. The opportunities within a church, because worship is such a strong expression of the Christian faith. Your average church meets 2 to 3 times a week. The one instrument that they're always looking for is usually a bass player. Now, I've been in some churches where we've had a few, and I was able to have a few days off during the month. But there's been other times where I was the only one, and I was playing almost every service. And when I got that opportunity, I grew a whole lot. And I actually played while in a church more than I ever did when I was in bands. So if you look at the average band that's gigging, they may get the opportunity to play 1 time a week. But the thing is that may only happen 2, maybe 3 times a month. It just depends on how often they can get the opportunity to play out. I was playing 3 times a week in a church. Now, mind you, the music's different, but the techniques and the ability to learn is still the same. And so, the opportunity to grow in this environment is just off the charts. And a lot of times, there are musicians there that can help you grow in ways that you may not get the opportunity if you're in a band. Okay, so I want to take the opportunity for you to just change it up a little bit. Now we're still going to use the same chords of Waymaker, and I want you to use the backing track that I made. And so when you're listening to the drums, it's hitting on the 1, or the kick drum, I'm sorry, is hitting on the 1 and the 3. So at this point, I want you to play the root and the 5th. And so if you don't remember where to find the 5th, you take your root note, count up to the 3rd finger, your ring finger, and then move down a string. Okay? So this is the 5th note. And if that sounds like country, or if it sounds like something that like polka or something like that, this is a common voicing for basses. So blues, they use it a lot. So we're going to play the same progression, starting on the C. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, down to G, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that was quick. You're going to use the 5th on each one. So you want to find the 5th of your C, of the C. Now that's actually the 5th fret on my D string. So that's a G. Okay? Now I'm going to go down to the G, 3rd fret on my E string, and I'm going to play the D, which is the 5th fret on my A string. So that's the 5th of G. So far we have C, going up to the G, which is 5th fret on the A string. The next chord that we're going to, the root, is the G, and we're going to play the 5th. Now we're going to take our fingers, we're going to slide up to the D, and we're going to play the 5th of that. Now that's an A. So you're going to go G, and then you're going to slide up like that. So that's an E and a B. So I'm going to play through with the music. That's a C. I'm going to let go through. G, D, E, 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and So I want you to practice adding the 5th. That's a really common way that people just add, some extra movement to kind of spice it up, to give it a little more of the feel. And honestly, if you want to just really kind of push yourself with the metronome, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Start adding in those movements. Now, if you do that, that's going to help your fingers really get used to moving. And this is also something where you're learning how to skip strings and move across them. Now I want you to find the song Waymaker in the key of G and type that in and practice. There might be a few different versions of it, And each of them are going to have a different feel. One thing I enjoy is finding videos of acoustic guitar players without a band, and then I'll practice along with that if it's a song I know or a song I have a chord chart to. But sometimes in the musical arrangement, it may be hard to figure out what some bands are doing, and that's okay. Try, listen, develop your ear. Over time, you'll recognize that one, it could be a different style, and it's just approached very differently than what you normally listen to. Or it could be a set of skills that need to be developed. All right, so I want you to remember, take it slow. Get the pattern under your fingers. Know where the notes are. Say the notes out loud. Sing the notes. If you're singing the notes, you will start hearing the different steps in between the notes. And all of a sudden, you'll start being able to hear and recognize what the musicians are doing. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I hope that you take time to like and subscribe, and I hope that you'll join me for the next one. We'll see you soon.